Fallout Season 2 is out in full on Amazon Prime, 8 new episodes around 45 minutes each. This is the post-apocalyptic comedy adventure show based on the classic video game series, starring Ella Purnell, Aaron Moulton, Walton Goggins, Kyle MacLachlan, and joining this season, Justin Theroux as Robert House. The show picks up where we ended the first season. Hank McLean has escaped to New Vegas, with Lucy and the Ghoul giving chase to stop whatever nasty plans he intends to put into motion. As they're getting there, we also learn through flashbacks the backstory of another powerful capitalist player, Robert House, whose influence is still felt in the ruins of Vegas. Meanwhile, Maximus is now a revered knight of the Brotherhood of Steel, which doesn't really solve his problems, instead creating new ones. And Norm ends up waking all the hibernating managers that he's stuck with in Vault 31 and then leading them out into the wasteland. So, the first season was a really pleasant surprise because, in a wide pool of video game adaptations, this was not just a great one of the greatest in terms of capturing the spirit and tone and character of the source games, but also it was just competently written, directed, and acted out, so much so that it could very well be easily enjoyed by people with zero familiarity to any of the games, such as my fiance. The second season is a bit of a step down. Not that it's awful, I don't think it is, but it also isn't as good or as tight as the first one. I think it feels much more meandering and unfocused, with characters spending time doing kind of meaningless things or being in places and situations that don't really make sense for them to be in, but because either the plot requires them to be there or because the writers just didn't have a good idea what else to do with them at the time. Worst examples being the storylines of Max and Norm, which feel largely undercooked, especially compared to Lucy and the Ghoul. The show also insists on further developing the flashback storyline for Coop, which was great in season 1, but I think after the initial twist reveal at the end, we are, I'm not saying it's run its course already, but I think we're ready to spend less time in the past and more time in the wasteland. At some point we need to accept that we've learned everything from the flashbacks, and there's no reason to continue going through that storyline. It also feels like this season doesn't really move the present day story that much forward compared to where it starts. It ends on a cliffhanger, another one with not much resolution and more new questions instead of answers. Having said that, there are still things to like. All the main actors are fantastic in their roles, particularly Walton Goggins and Ella Purnell, but also Kyle MacLachlan. There are some bit players showing up here like Kumail Nanjiani or Macaulay Culkin. The humor still works and feels in line with the weird, irreverent, absurd tone of the games. I like the critique of capitalism, which now extends beyond Vault-Tec and into Robert House, who, by the way, I think could have been developed a little bit more as a character, because as it is, we learn very few things about him, and apparently he is a very important character in Fallout New Vegas. But I haven't played that particular game, so I felt I was missing some important context. Visuals are still great. The production design, props, costumes, special effects, everything feels like it's ripped straight from the games. The entire aesthetic is there. The show isn't ashamed of any of it. So it's still to an extent entertaining, just not such a revelation as the first season. And I think the problems of plot focus and contrivances and clunky writing and editing between the storylines, particularly the awkward jumps between them in the finale, they're all things that can be fixed pretty easily. So despite its shortcomings, I still think it's worth checking out, and I'll definitely be tuning back in for the next season whenever that comes.